It's a maxim in screenwriting that you should enter a scene as late as possible and get out as soon as you can. And sometimes that means only showing a quick scene.
Boy, that is bad. Somebody ought to check this thing's prostate.
Or even a single shot.
He said what?
But stringing a few of these together can be a pain to read and makes the ideas feel disconnected. So screenwriters needed a format to tie them together seamlessly, which is where we get montages and series of shots. There are a number of obtuse technical definitions for a montage or series of shots, but I think John August's definition best reflects their actual function. A montage is a collection of very short scenes, sometimes only a single shot each, designed to show a series of actions over time. While this definition is given specifically for a montage, you can just as easily apply it to a series of shots. Even if there are folks that will try to tell you a series of shots and montage are absolutely distinct. They might say that a series of shots focuses on action beats, like Angel processing the detainees in Hot Fuzz, while a montage focuses on a broad concept, like falling in love. Or that a series of shots is a montage where only single shots are used for each beat. Or it's a series of shots if it's all in a single location, but a montage if it spans multiple. Or that a montage has music while a series of shots doesn't. Or that it's simply a matter of how much time passes, with montages spanning longer periods than series of shots. The fact that no one can really agree what makes it one or the other is probably the reason they're used more or less interchangeably. If you want to suggest the shots are quicker and action-oriented, then a series of shots might be more effective. If you want to suggest there could be music or that the sequence spans a larger amount of time, then a montage might be more effective. But in practice, you're unlikely to get any pushback for your choice here. Their formatting is basically identical, with the only real difference being whether you use the words montage, series of shots, or anything else to identify them. So I'll be using the terms interchangeably for the rest of this video, but everything we'll cover applies exactly the same to any collection of short scenes. For a small or easy to explain montage that takes place within a single larger location, the simplest approach is sometimes to just indicate the montage with a technical direction within a single paragraph explaining the concept. Interior, Solitano house, attic, day. Montage of scenes showing Pat as he replaces the broken window pane. You could also choose to pull the montage direction out of the narrative description and move it into the primary scene heading, usually as a note. Interior, competition hall, day, montage. Johnny beating opponents into the ground with multiple techniques. An elimination board serves to keep us current on the tournament's progress. Or if you need to add description or dialogue before the montage begins, you can write the montage direction as a secondary heading or opening technical direction instead. The haircut is strange, unlike other haircuts. More like a topiary than a haircut. Series of shots. Edward cutting the women's hair. He wields his hands with greater and greater flourish, clearly growing vain about his skills. His actions take on the elegance of choreography. Something simple like series of shots or montage works fine here. But you can evoke a more specific image or feeling by adding a descriptor to your slugs or technical directions. Quick hip-hop montage. Lighter flicks, liquid on a spoon sizzles, tourniquet snaps, needle sucks, a thunderous rush of liquid, and finally an ecstatic sigh. Or even indicate the overall concept of the montage. Launch montage. Countdown. Truman and Kimsey in mission control. Faces, faces, faces. The clock ticking down and radio chatter over everything. While a simple montage paragraph can work perfectly for something simple to describe, more complex montages can benefit from some sort of separator between the beats, like ellipses or M-dashes. Interior, New York pre-war apartment building. Various, night. Cops swarming, black boots pound marble floors of a lobby, and down long carpeted hallways, where tenants peek out. Doors closed, stay inside. Doors slam shut, guns are drawn, as cops approach 2 apartments on 2 floors, where a go-ahead is given, and 2 doors are kicked open. Or you might choose to separate the different beats into their own paragraphs. Linguini's flat, night, montage, learning to cook. Using hanks of Linguini's hair to control Linguini's actions, Remy pilots Linguini, who is blindfolded to keep him from cheating, through an increasingly complex series of cooking tasks. Everything from cutting vegetables to flipping crepes. During this comic montage, we see Remy learning precisely how to pilot Linguini, and at the same time, Linguini is learning how to surrender himself to be piloted. By dawn, Linguini and Remy have meshed into one finely honed cooking machine. You can even combine the approaches, giving each beat its own paragraph marked by a double dash or similar bullet, which ends up looking a bit like a list of short scenes. Quick cuts. They all take turns trying to open the container. Thor struggles with pliers. They all stomp on the bottle. The boys surrender, breathing heavily. Marking the beginning of each new beat in this way makes things clearer on the page and opens up opportunities for including traditional dialogue or additional paragraphs of narrative description for each beat. Begin American Idol type audition montage. We see quick pops of auditioners, some good, some bad. Fat Amy walks on stage.
Oh, there's no backup dancers? Okay.
More pops of people, including Lily, a very shy girl who is often inaudible when speaking. The groups react. What did she say?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Just make sure that if it isn't obvious where your montage ends, you add some version of end montage as a final technical direction in your description. Interior, Visions Academy, montage. The montage builds, a multi-paneled flurry. Pre-lap, a bell rings. He runs through the emptying hallways. End montage. Or as a mini slug. If your montage spans multiple sublocations like the rooms of a house, you might also want to include various rooms in your heading for a bit more clarity. Interior, Regina's house, various, day. A rapid series of shots. Steph hurrying up and down the stairs with the vacuum, cleaning supplies, laundry. Steph scours the oven, range hood. Grates. Steph wipes the bathroom sink, scrubs the showers. But if your montage spans multiple major locations, there are a few unique approaches and considerations to take into account. You could just write a new scene heading and brief description for each location and imply a montage without ever explicitly mentioning one, like the famous training montage in Rocky. Interior, Goldmill's gym, still later. Drenched in sweat, Rocky hums the speed bag. His expression is hard and flushed. Interior, Goldmill's gym, still later. One-arm push-ups in the ring. Mickey's coaching drives him on. Interior, Goldmill's gym, still later. Rocky tightens his abs while Mickey pounds him in the stomach with a medicine ball. But too many scene headings crammed together can get annoying to read, takes up a lot of real estate on the page, and most importantly, doesn't always feel like a montage to the reader. To make sure your reader knows the full sequence is meant to be a montage, you can simply add a note to each scene heading. Interior, NASA rover room, day, begin montage. Vincent watches his engineers drill holes in a rover by slamming a rock into a screwdriver. Exterior, ab, day, montage. Mark in his MAV suit stands on top of Rover 2. He holds the large rock sample drill like a jackhammer, drilling holes through the roof. Interior, NASA rover room, day, montage. An engineer jumps up and down on the drilled roof. Or use a mini slug or technical direction to indicate where the montage begins. The Ghostbusters song really starts to cook with full production now as a montage begins. Interior, fire hall, night. The team hears the alarm buzzer. They leap from their beds and slide down the pole. Exterior, Chinatown, day. The Ghostbusters return to the ectomobile parked on the street. A man runs after them, gifting them pecking ducks. And just like we did with the single location montages, you should consider marking the end of any multi-location montage if there might be any ambiguity or confusion. Begin training montage. Exterior, harbor, stairs. Lorenzo shoots a spray bottle with abandon, failing to impress Daniela and drenching an infuriated bystander. Interior, Massimo's kitchen, dinner. Massimo demonstrates twirling a forkful. Alberto carefully imitates Massimo and manages to capture a forkful of his own. Finally, end montage. If you want to condense your multi-location montage, you can use that same opening technical direction to start the montage before writing the beats as separate paragraphs that each make their location clear. A crowd wrapped around the block outside New York Theater Workshop in 1996. Another larger crowd wrapped around the block outside the Nederlander Theater in 1996, rent emblazoned on the marquee. And here again, we can format the beats as a bulleted list using numbers, letters, or dashes. If integrating the location into the paragraphs is a bit too subtle for your situation, you might instead choose to split the difference and use secondary headings at the beginning of each beat. Montage, from store to store. We watch as Jacob narrates the wardrobe essentials and as Cal's arms get progressively fuller in each store. In a clothing store, Cal tries on dress shirts and ties. In a sunglasses store, Cal tries on sunglasses. In another store, Cal swipes his credit card and takes a bag of clothes. This gives the montage a bit more flow while still giving each beat its own heading. But it might still be useful to get a bit more descriptive with the broader location, like a montage of Greater London. A montage of Greater London. A vast supermarket car park. An old man slowly collects discarded trolleys. A 24-hour supermarket serves early bird customers. A vacant checkout girl bleeps products through her till. Or mention the overall concept of the short scenes like a training montage. Training montage. A. Schuylkill River. Dawn. We see Adonis running along the majestic river. We see Rocky watching from a vantage point along the adjacent road. B. Gym. Adonis struggles with the jump rope. Rocky watches from behind a newspaper. But as I keep saying, screenwriting isn't just a craft, it's an art too. Mix and match these approaches if needed, or come up with an even better one. Whatever's most efficient and effective for your story should win out. You're now up to speed on the differences between single and multi-location montages and series of shots, but do you know the difference between features, single camera shows, and multi-camera series? If you're even thinking about writing TV, then you'll want to check out this video to learn the differences in content and format, because one of these scripts will look very different from what you've seen so far.